Thank you, Jesse. Wired magazine did an article on PechaKucha night a couple of years ago, and they said it turns business meeting into poetry slam. So we have two more speakers tonight. Our next speaker is Carol Cox. Carol is talking about what I learned in the Sacred Valley of Peru. Please welcome Carol.
Last December, my husband and I embarked on a spiritual journey to Peru. We knew this wasn't going to be your run-of-the-mill vacation. After all, we'd be testing ourselves physically on a week-long hike and mentally as we delve into our innermost selves and sacred ceremonies. So here are the lessons I learned in the Sacred Valley of Peru. At the beginning of the trek, we set our intentions. Some people were looking for inner peace, others for reconciliation with a loved one. Mine was to get clarity on what was the higher purpose of my life. I thought I was ready for whatever transformation would come. However, you get what you most need, not necessarily what you want. As we hiked, I focused on enjoying each step, almost like a walking meditation. It's the journey, not the destination, is one of the most overused cliches, but that's because it really is the essence for enjoying our lives as they are, not for as we hope they will be someday. Of course, when the destination is awesome, like this glacier lake, then it can be about the destination. It was a tough hike to get to this lake, and when we finally made it, we were in awe of the beauty and also proud of our accomplishment. So I learned to take the time to celebrate my achievements instead of quickly jumping to complete the next thing. At the glacier lake, we got to take part in an Andean ceremony to honor Pachamama, Mother Earth, led by a local shaman. It reminded me of the importance of regularly giving thanks and of remembering our ancestors. Rituals can center and comfort us, so I've tried to incorporate ones like daily meditation and yoga, which we did every day on the trip. Apparently, the hike to the glacier lake was just a warm-up because the next day we had to hike for 8 hours to nearly 15,000 feet through a rainy, treacherous mountain pass. We were soaked from head to toe, freezing and hungry, but we all agreed that this day by far was the most memorable, precisely because it tested us mentally and physically. There's something about going to another country with a group of people you've never met. You so easily and quickly form bonds and memories that you never would with the equivalent time period at home. Notice what's missing from this photo. No one is looking at a cell phone. It was so nice not to have phones, the internet, or TV for an entire week. Not having gadgets around also gave us the time and the freedom to live in the moment and just play. I remember one time, at one point in the trip, I didn't even know what day of the week it was, much less the date. It didn't really matter if it was a Monday or a Friday or a Sunday, because all we thought about was what we were doing on that day. It's important to recognize the poverty that does exist. What we consider to be the basics, dirty homes, clean water, electricity, would be abundance to many Peruvians. We passed row upon row of shacks and saw more stray dogs than I could count. However, just as important as acknowledging the poverty is recognizing the abundance that does exist. Entire communities come together to share resources, harvest crops, and sell them in the market. However, what is largely missing there is abundance of opportunity. Here in the US, we can go to school, change jobs, and start companies, and for that, I'm extremely grateful. One thing that's important to recognize when you're in a country like Peru is that bargaining is part of the buying process. Know what something is worth, but don't be cheap. One day, it started to rain, so we had to buy ponchos, but we didn't want to pay what the nearest stall was charging. So we ran across the square to another seller who ended up charging us more. So that was a lesson learned. One of the best things about traveling to a foreign country is enjoying the food. Please don't be the Americans who go to Paris and eat at McDonald's. Find out what the local dishes are and try those. For example, Peru has over 400 different types of potatoes. These were just picked that day, which we had for dinner, and they were delicious. Of course, there are some local dishes you may want to not try, such as guinea pigs. Many Peruvians raise guinea pigs in their outdoor kitchens, like you see here, and eat them on special occasions. I'm vegan, so I chose to skip the guinea pigs. My husband said they didn't taste that great, so I guess I didn't miss anything. So Peruvians speak Spanish as well as a local dialect called Quechua. I speak neither, but luckily smiles went a long way. And by the way, that's a real goat that she's holding, and she charged us one soul about 40 cents to take this picture. So when I say that a smile is a universal currency, I mean that literally in this case. It's okay to be a tourist sometimes. Tourist places exist for a reason. They're part of that area's history and culture. So take the time to explore and learn. We stayed in Cusco for a few days to see the sights, and we ended up hiring a local tour guide whom you see here to show us around, and she was great. And Peru has some amazing mysterious structures besides Machu Picchu. The photo on the right is me standing next to a 100-ton block, which is just one of many stones that our prior civilization moved and put into place. The photo on the left is at Ollantaytambo, where a large piece of stone was cut from the rock, but no one has any idea of how it was done. At the end of the trip, we had a few days where we didn't have any activities planned, which really gave us time to pause and reflect on our experiences. I actually put together most of this presentation while sitting on those steps outside of our bungalow in Pisac. It was such a blessing to have that time before the rush of getting home. It also gave us a chance to meet the community of spiritual seekers from all around the world who come and go in Pisac. And they helped to prepare us for the ceremony we would participate in on the solstice around the sacred plant Ayahuasca, which has been used for thousands of years by Amazonian tribes for healing and spiritual discovery. So finally, December 21st, the solstice arrived. I have to admit I was nervous and wanted to back out several times the day of the ayahuasca ceremony, but I didn't, which is why I titled the slide, Go All In. Sometimes you have to step out of your comfort zone in order to complete the transformation, and I'm glad I did. What I discovered after our time in Peru is that whatever you are seeking is already within you. I saw this in everyone who undertook the journey. We were all looking for something, inner peace, reconciliation, a higher purpose. The journey didn't give it to us. It just opened our eyes to what was already there. Thank you.